Oh, my word. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's been a mad week at Casa Macka. I don't mean McDonald's. It's probably a mad week there anyway. That's so things go wrong. It's been 2 weeks worth of work in 1 week. So Macca's a bit jaded. But hello, everybody. We're here. 3 of us at least. We're like the George, Paul, and Ringo Beatles and the Baldles anthology. That's what we are. Talking about victories past and all of the screaming old ladies and the guys shaking their fists at us because we don't like their team or something. We're joined by Sir Z and Brian, at least for now. How are we doing, boys?
Good, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm tired, so if I fall asleep halfway through this, one of you two is going to have to take over. So let's look at what we will talk about this week. Nothing too dramatic, but we'll discuss our German, not quite the Vorsprung durch Technik we were expecting, but we'll have a discussion about him as well, for today and where we may see him going. Room 433 will make a special guest appearance, even though the guy who requested the special guest appearance hasn't showed up. And then we'll talk about the game and Thomas Frank, and a manager who's also having a difficult time of it this season. But let us look. There's Florian Wirtz there thinking hard and trying to work out what the hell he's supposed to be doing on the field. Now, I'm going to throw some names out there, and some will resonate with Suzy, I'm sure. Nigel Clough, Jari Litmanen, Yossi Benayoun, Shaqiri. Very good technical players before we got them, and just for whatever reason, either the wrong manager, the wrong system, or the wrong time to be at the club, couldn't find their place in the team, couldn't find their place in the tactics, and ended up being, one of those where you go, I wish we'd seen a bit more of that player. We wish that player had worked out. Nigel Clough was the first one for me, because up until around there, Liverpool never really got transfers badly wrong. If they did, that was usually one of the cheaper players we brought in. We'll think like Paul Walsh or Craig Johnson or somebody, somebody who's good at a certain level, but just couldn't maybe make the consistent step up. But Florian Wirtz came with a big price tag, which he's not responsible for, but a big price tag and a lot of promise. And he's clearly a very good player, but it hasn't quite worked out for him this season, boys. So there were some rumors, which I hope are not true, that Real Madrid may look to spend a substantial amount of money to bring him to Spain next year at the end of the season. I hope that doesn't happen. I want to see the best of Florian Wirtz. But what is it? Is he just not able to settle? Has he maybe not settled in the city? Has he not settled in the league? Has he shown enough to make you go, ooh, if that clicks, we're flying? What is the puzzle of Florian Wirtz?
For me, I think the latter. I think
before we even get started there, showing off your guns there, Suzy, before you even giving an answer.
I didn't even mean to. No, for me, the last few games he's potentially showing what we've bought. I think, like Kirkes and Frimpong and Isaac, I think they've come into a situation, a bad situation generally in terms of the way we're playing. Slot really not knowing what he's didn't look like he knew what he was doing. The injury problems. I think getting used to a faster paced league, getting used to a league that they don't care about your name and they're going to give you, they're going to kick you off the field and kick you off the pitch, it's just a combination of things, and I think he's starting to come good. I think you can see he's starting to bulk out a little bit. Um, Definitely, it's every single one of our players are going through like hammy problems or going through cramp problems that where they can't last a full 90 minutes, and that's just the nature of the beast of the Premier League. But I think Verts will come good. I think out of the players that you mentioned, I mean, Liverpool, we got him on the back end of his career. Benayoun was okay. It was a cheap buy, no risk buy. Same as Shaqiri. Where Verts is different to all of them was that we know he's going to be a first team player. It's just a matter of him getting more run at games, getting used to the league, and like I say, last couple of games, he's shown his worth, and he's shown his potential of what we can expect of him. And it's similar to like Dalglish when we bought him. Like they weren't on his wavelength. Like he made everyone else better around him, and I think that's what Verts is going to do. He's going to make the players around him better.
Now, Brian, we can say that he came from a league that isn't as physical as the Premier League, but didn't Ekitike come from the same league? And isn't he flying? Where did Ekitike come? He came from Germany as well, the Bundesliga. But he's flying by comparison.
Yep.
Is it a case that maybe it's the position that Wirtz is playing in that it would almost, even back in the day, would be seen as a luxury position, that creative number 10. He's maybe kind of trying to figure out what I want to speak to for Sir Z's point, but I want you to respond to it, Brian, is there was an old look when I grew up playing, there was an old saying, if you can't do anything with the ball, just make sure you're at least working hard, and that keeps you in the game. I think out of the last 3 games, he's been one of the highest covering distance covering. So it's almost like he's figuring out the physical side right now, isn't it? And it's adding to his technical game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that, one, you're talking about still a young player. I mean, I think that's one of the reality that we have to go into. I mean, just like kind of what Sir C said about Jerry Linderman. We got Jerry Linderman at the tail end of his career. So, I mean, and also got Yossi about, I think Yossi was 25, 26, I think, when we got him. I mean, so I mean, you're talking about a massive age gap, and I think that you're looking at, for FSG's points, the ups that he has right there as far as value and also what he can achieve in this league. The problem right there is what's happened with him is that he's been moved over to 3 different positions while he's been in this side. He's been in the left, he's been in the center, he's also been out on wide right on a couple occasions. It's hard for you to come out there and get a grasp of the game right there when you're getting moved into these certain positions, and especially when you're not in a free role, which what he kind of played when he was played in Germany. So I think once you come out there and fit a position that suits him, I think that you will see how things work a little bit better. And we've seen that over the past couple of weeks right there, where we've actually had him. He's been a little bit more free, and I think having Szoboszlai next to him, I think it's actually helped him out a lot right there, because I think it takes a little bit of the pressure and gives him the time right there to actually make passes. And honestly, right there, he's been creating passes. We just haven't come out there and actually done anything with them. I mean, if you were going a couple of matches, he had actually dropped the ball in good positions with players, and we just failed to capitalize on it. So I think that all the pressure on Wirtz, I think, and again, goes back to like price tags on players and all that, and I think that stresses people out as far as like, okay, well, we have a 110 million pound player. He should be doing this, instead of actually realize that you still have a young player that needs to get his potential there. So I think Wirtz is going to come good. I mean, I thought when we signed him, I thought it was a brilliant signing. I just think you have to actually tweak this side right there to actually support him. And that being having a number 6 right there that can actually be an anchor so that he's able to be in that free role and not having to go back and do multiple jobs.
Now, I know Cozzy and Sir Z at least are not into the statistics. I like some of them. One of the ones I like is key passes. And the reason why I like key passes is it's basically assists where the person on the end of the assist messed it up. Now, so I'm just going to show this screen. That's from Who Scored. I maybe have to go full screen so you can see it a little bit better. But if you take away Chiesa, Rio, Dan's, and Rio's on twice. Fair play to him. He's doing double the work. Just for their appearance minutes. If we start at the players who've played substantial minutes, Florian Wirtz is getting the most key passes in the team. So that means he is creating chances that aren't being finished. Is the impression maybe that Florian Wirtz isn't being as effective as he could be, down to the fact that our goal scorers have also not been as effective as they could be? And if they had been on form, not only would we be much higher at the table, but we would be hailing Florian Wirtz as the assist machine.
Yeah,
like is it all like tied into each other?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, your assist is only as good as the person that you're passing to, and all the players. I mean, who knows how many assists Mohamed Salah will be on if Nunes could finish the chances that he got from Salah. So it's the fact that Isak's not firing all cylinders. Salah's not firing all cylinders. I mean, what the stat doesn't show is who the passes are to. So that would be interesting to see the correlation between who is assisting and who's not finishing. I think that'll give you a more clearer picture. You look at Ekitike and it's going back to him. I mean, I think is an exception to the rule of the new players that came in, and I think his mindset is very different to the other players. He doesn't look nervous at all, and maybe because his price tag, maybe Isak's taking that pressure off him because of the price tag, and Wirtz has done the same. I mean, Ekitike's just gone in there and he's just so raw. He reminds me of Nunes in the sense of that he's raw, and this is the player that I thought we were going to get with Nunes. Just raw, unorthodox, back and finish. And unfortunately, we got that with Ekitike, and it's like, price for price. It was pretty much like a free deal. But Wirtz, I think the other players are letting him down in regards to the finish, because some of the passes that he's put off, and you saw with Germany as well. Some of the passes and assists that he's pulled off, if they're finished, we're talking about different type of player, and someone up there with KDB numbers.
In terms, that is a very good point. But we're kind of sort of thinking a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we were sort of thinking when we got Florian Wirtz, Brian, that we maybe have found like almost the Firmino replacement, that like creative, tricky. You never expected this to happen, like Thiago, but about two positions up in the field. But it seems to me, in terms of being on a wavelength, that the one player that we probably do need to have on the team with Florian Wirtz is Roberto Firmino.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I never thought he'd be a Firmino type player. I still think that he would be more of a Coutinho, Thiago kind of like, and Kevin De Bruyne kind of like mix of a type of player, just by watching how he was in Germany. So I think that, but Firmino would be a brilliant in this. And I think that Ekitike has some of his qualities right there, I think, too, that I think that we could use, that we can exploit. Again, it goes back to the problem with it is that you can go there and provide balls. You can actually go and put things in there, but you can't go there. I know, but you can't go there and you can't go there and make goals happen. You can actually put players in positions to score, but that final piece right there has to rely on the forwards, are the people who are in that position to score, which would be Isak, Cody Gakpo, or whoever else is in those positions right there, or Ekitike to finish it. I mean, you're only as good as you said, your stats right there. I mean, these key passes that happen there. It's a good stat because it tells you right there that we are actually creating opportunities. We're just not taking advantage of them.
Now, speaking of Coutinho, and this is kind of the point I'm trying to very badly formulate, though. But when you think of Coutinho's best period of playing for Liverpool was when he had Suarez and he had Sturridge ahead of him. Two maverick players, maverick thinkers, especially Suarez. I don't think he knew what he was doing half the time, but it always seemed to work out for him. And if we look at what we have right now, Ekitike, I think he's been doing marvelous. Maybe a little bit of a dip, but has adjusted quite well and is creative. And he does do those little creative flicks and passes around the corner, etc., that you just hope somebody can figure out. But Isak is more of a traditional striker, just get him the ball, get him running at the goal, and then he'll finish it. And Salah has been having a dreadful season by his standards, but he's also, as we've discussed many times and has been discussed elsewhere on other podcasts and by people far less hairier than we are, Paul Dalglish, he's been playing that new role where he's actually got defensive responsibility. So the players that Wirtz should be connecting with are not anywhere near where they're supposed to be. And then the only other player that maybe he might connect with in Szoboszlai has been playing right back a lot of the time as well. So if it all comes together, Susie, if we can get the players, and I have a funny feeling that we're not going to see Salah if he does return. I don't think we'll see him ever be a right attacking midfielder again. He'll be a striker, like a right forward, and take all the defensive stuff away from him and let him just score the goals. I think we'll probably see that kind of connection that we've wanted to see. If it works, it would wipe away a lot of bad feeling, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think we did the same with Mane. At the end of his career, he stopped his defensive responsibilities, and I think at that point, Robertson was more than competent of being one of the best left backs in the world at the time. So, putting Mane up front, and he was banging them in last season. I think we'll probably see that from Salah as well, as we slowly edge him out of his right wing position. I mean, he's played that position for Egypt as well, so it's not foreign to him in that sense. But yeah, I think with Slot, I think with a lot of people, we're still used to this first 11 mentality when it's really not. It's your first 15, and it's who you finish the game off with, which is just as important as who you start the game off with. And being able to transition in the game with the full set of players instead of trying to, push them all in at the beginning, and then we're playing players out of position, and none of it makes sense because cliche, putting square pegs in round holes. We don't need to do that. We just need to be smarter of when we're going to play these players, and that's when the coach shows his management skills, and knowing when to play his tool. We don't need to have Salah for 90 minutes. We don't have to have Isak for 90 minutes. We need to do, games must. And as the game is progressing, that's when we bring in our tools and change the formation where the other, with the opposition aren't ready. They're not ready to see Isak come off the bench. They already just think that, they've already, got Ekitike nailed down. Now you see Isak coming on, and even just that aura of these players coming on mid-game or whenever is enough to squash a game for us. And I think that's the way Slot needs to be thinking.
Now, to be fair, the only person who's ever happy when you put square pegs into round holes is my proctologist, to be fair. Now, Brian, we've recently, for at least the last two games, intentionally moved to that diamond formation, and it's put players, as you said, we've talked about this on the Discord during the games, how much better we play when Ryan Gravenberch is told to, or instructed rather, to just sit back in front of the defence, and he's been doing that. His average positions have shown that. We've had the two runners, and then we've had in McAllister and Szoboszlai, or Jones and Szoboszlai. And then we've had Wirtz and McAllister in that top of the diamond, and the two up front. If we get both Frimpong and Kerkez back fully fit and firing and understanding their roles, you really want Slot to kind of maintain that diamond shape then, don't you? Because we have two attacking fullbacks who have all the space in front of them then to run, because there's no right and left attacking midfielder to play off. Hard luck Cody Gakpo. But you'll get those extra runs from McAllister and Szoboszlai, and you'll get Wirtz in a position where he's ready to do damage. Ekitike, he likes that floating role. And Isak will have a defined role then. He'll have a partner to play off, or Salah will have that defined role. The danger is, and this is not a Slot conversation, but the danger is if he goes back to what he prefers and it undoes all that good work. And we don't really want to get to the end of the season, as fans at least, saying seriously, contemplating, you know what, if we could get 90 million off Real Madrid for Wirtz, might not be a bad idea. So the manager has to get this right, doesn't he, with this player?
Absolutely. And I think really one thing you have to go at a key right there is the working relationships that are happening on the pitch through here. Because I think that Wirtz, Jones, Ekitike, and Frimpong are going to be a key with creativity, because I think that Wirtz is actually, obviously the relationship with Frimpong, but it's even been talked about that he's got a very good relationship now with Jones on and off the pitch, and same thing with Szoboszlai and also Ekitike. So I think you have to go there and let these players mesh and get themselves together through there. And I think it's a bright future if we stay at a diamond formation. But I still think the problem that's going to happen with there is McAllister, I think, and McAllister, Gapco, and Gravenberch are probably the players right here, which I have the highest question marks in playing in a diamond formation. I think, though, I've said many times on this podcast and also in Discord right there that we're so much of a need of a number 6. I mean, I think that Gravenberch right there is kind of plays that role, but he's not a natural 6, so we need a destroyer. I mean, to go there to stay in that position, to work correctly in a diamond formation. I mean, you can have all this stuff, all the runners you want in there, but if you're not going back and actually and pulling back and taking out the ball, then it's not going to be successful. I think definitely right there that I think that Gravenberch is doing a job, but I don't know how far Gravenberch can do that job in that role. I mean, there's players right there. I mean, I think that Ederson right there is a brilliant player right here that we could probably bring in as a number 6. Morton, another player right there we can bring in as a number 6 right there who could actually do these type of roles. And I think that ultimately right there, this is still a transition side. I mean, I think that we said last year that we thought was going to be a transition going forward with it. I think last year was kind of a up. I think that we kind of went above our heads and how we played in there. And I mean, but I think this year with the new players and new pieces right there, it's obviously this is our transition year. So I think that you're going to see players move in the summertime, but I think ultimately right there, it's getting these relationships together. And what your point you made about Salah, I think that'd be a brilliant idea, right, to put Salah on the right besides either Ekitike or Isak. And I think that would be a fantastic opportunity for him. But, I mean, to close out this season, after that, I think that Mo's probably gone in the summertime.
For Ryan, we've got like another 40 minutes, Ryan. So I think I'm here for at least that long. I mean, I control the production stuff, so I have to be here. Now, just to expand this a little bit, Brian, before I go back to Susie, we're all hoping, I think, that we can get Gahey in January rather than wait till the summer and have this big firestorm of a bidding war almost to get services. But if you consider that having a true number 6 may free up Wirtz, may free up Szoboszlai, may free up McAllister or Gravenberch in that role or Jones in that role, and may protect the fullbacks, which may get the best out of them. If you had the choice, would you take Gahey in January or a proper number 6?
Honestly, right there, I'll probably go there and say something that you probably would like. I'd go after Nathan Collins. I honestly would.
I would already got a restraining order from him.
I mean, I think that Gahey is going to be something right here that may be a hard thing to achieve right there, and being that where we're at in 6 months on here, he's going to explore what he wants to do. And he's got his suitors right there. But I mean, to be there, I would kill for Nathan Collins. I think Nathan Collins would be a perfect player for us in this side right there. I mean, I know you talked about it before. I mean, a couple months ago and all that. I think that he would do a good job for us, and then go in for for another player after that. I just don't know if Gay's going to happen. I'm kind of lost a lot of confidence in that. I think that we missed the ball on that right there, and I think that we should have came through back in June. And I said this on Discord right there, and Ryan was so it was one of his comments. We should have came through and went after Gay back in June, sold Kanate, and kept Kwanzaa, and I think that we would not be in this problem at all.
I think we said that on this show in the postseason as well on Thursday night about getting that Gay deal done and getting Collins in for me. But Ryan makes this point here, maybe McAllister for Camavinga might be worth exploring. But Josh says Real Madrid is so tough to negotiate with, and they are. They're swines, really, when it comes down to it. We'll probably lose Isak, Salah, and Alisson by the time we get on the plane to go back, the transfer boys. Now, just going back to Florian Wirtz, Susie, is he... We've talked about his relationship with Isak, or with Ekitike, but I do believe if you look at the passing network things, he's actually... When Isak has been having a relatively good game, Wirtz has been the player that found him. And one of the few, because I've shown on the passing maps here when Isak plays, and there's a lot of passes not going to them. And by that I mean none. But do you think if Wirtz can click, then maybe Isak might click? Because I can't see a player other than he who shall not be named and who does wear the white of Real Madrid right now. But had he been still at the club, I think Isak would be on several goals by this point, because he played the kind of passes that Isak likes. The only player I can think of that could do that I've seen so far is Wirtz. So would that be one of those things? If you were Slot, would you be looking to get that connection going as well, and then you can boost two players at the same time?
No, I don't. What I would say to Wirtz is concentrate on your own game, and you pick out the passes that you think are best for the team. Because we're being too nice and trying to make Isak look better it's a detriment to the rest of the team. Where we might pick a better pass with a better player going in on goal, like Ekitike or maybe Gakpo or maybe Salah, but we're trying to make Isak or look worth his money, and I think that might be a detriment. I wouldn't give that responsibility to Wirtz, especially as he's still trying to prove his worth. I say to Wirtz, play your own game. Don't worry about Isak. Isak's big enough and ugly enough to look after himself, and if he can't figure it out, then that's on him, but not to the detriment of our team. So no, I wouldn't put that responsibility on Wirtz. It's the responsibility on Wirtz is you pick out the best pass, and whoever finishes it. Isak can worry about his own game.
Well, I don't mean like he exclusively looks for Isak. What I mean is like forwards like a certain delivery of ball into them. And Isak likes the ball over his shoulder almost. And
Isak's also a £120 million player. He needs to figure it out. He can't just wait for that perfect ball. He's not Haaland. I mean, Haaland got the balls from KDB and everything, but last season he wasn't getting them balls and he wasn't scoring. So between Guardiola and Haaland, they figured it out, and Haaland's playing a different type of game this season. Isak, we don't need a Gary Lineker. Well, we need a player who's going to press when he doesn't have the ball and then make something happen. That's a lot of money to spend on someone just waiting for the perfect ball to score. We don't need that. He needs to adjust his game.
Now, to be fair, if you're saying we don't need a Gary Lineker type, I mean, think of all the free crisps we'd get as well. Plus,
we had Michael Owen for that.
plus the joy of seeing him crap himself on the field as well, and then wiping it all on the grass. I totally take that point, and it's a fair one, Brian. We bought these two wing backs, stroke fullbacks, stroke wing backs, depending on what day of the week it is for Cozzy, or for the rest of us even. But we haven't seen anything like what we've expected from them. We all speculate that Frimpong would be Salah's kind of replacement almost, but Bradley isn't strong enough physically to maintain a run of games for that to happen. So when Frimpong comes back, he's probably going to be an attacking fullback, is the way I like to put it, more than wing back or right back. But if Wirtz can get firing, if the players can get on their wavelength, do you see those two becoming vital attacking options? Because he's a player who will find them, but I don't know what their attacking output is. With Trent, we knew he was going to give us assists. With Robertson, we knew he was going to give us assists when he was at his peak. We knew he could get that ball in. But do we see that from Kerkez and Frimpong? Is Wirtz not the key to unlocking them, but pulling the fullbacks into the game a lot more? Are they players that when the ball goes to them, something's going to happen?
In a diamond formation, sure. In a 4-2-3-1, no. I mean, so it goes back to what you said earlier, right there. Slot has to go there, not go back into this 4-2-3-1 again. I think that's a serious problem on both the left and the right side. So, I mean, you can see on the left right there that Kerkez and Gapka, when he's playing right there, they both try to occupy the same space, and I think it causes lots of problems. And I think that Mo in there actually is not a right attacking midfielder. He's a right winger. So you have those two problems that in there. I think if you are able to capitalize with a more narrow diamond, it gives those fullbacks the space to make these runs, and I think that's what you have to do. I mean, McAllister right there, when he's playing on the left hand side, drifts in alongside Wirtz. Same thing when if Jones is in there, he does the same exact thing. So these are things that you see these players do, because in a diamond right there, you have to be narrow right there for your fullbacks to fully go through and actually occupy the space and give those crosses in to your forwards. So if Slot has now come through and figured out, hey, guess what? This is what the best I can get out of these players. I think that going forward is going to be pretty bright right there. With Frimpong healthy, Kerkez, you're going to see a lot more runs go through. But again, it all depends on discipline by either Gravenberg or another number 6 to stay back there and hold up for Konate and Van Dijk. Because if that doesn't happen, and we have the Gravenberg that wants to listen to the advice of his dad and go there and score goals and stuff like that, then we're going to have problems again, because we're going to get hit with the long ball, and these players and the opposition is going to go there run all over us again. So again, discipline on the pitch right there, a narrow diamond, and I think that that both Kerkez and Frimpong would be great. Bradley doesn't have the strength right there, and I said this like that a couple days ago. Bradley right there still, when he goes on the pitch, plays like an academy player. I mean, he still does these same things, the same mistakes that you would. He goes lunges into challenges which are unnecessary, but he also goes and basically pitters out by about the 40th, by about the 60th minute. He's pittered out. He's gassed. He can't go forward. I like Bradley, but I don't think that Bradley's the player that we need to have at the moment.
Now, just kind of prepare your minds for the Room 433 thing that's coming up next. I talked about Clough. I talked about Jari Litmanen. Fair enough, he was coming at the tail end of his career, but he was still Jari bloody Litmanen. He was when he was on his form, he was fantastic. But think about a player that was like we would consider him a luxury player, a good technical player. Not Thiago, because he was just injured all the time, but he would count otherwise. But a technical, creative player that didn't quite work out at Liverpool that you wish had have worked out. Clough is mine. I'm going to nail my colours to that mask, because people who maybe were either too young or only like see it on YouTube clips don't understand how good Nigel Clough was for Nottingham Forest. but the whole system was built around Nigel Clough at Nottingham Forest, and the system at Liverpool was built around Ian Rush and John Barnes when he went there. So is there a player of any era that you are alive for or a fan for where you go, creative player, man, I wish things had worked out for that player because it would have been fantastic. Not Joe Cole.
For me, but for very different reasons, not because he didn't show it. So we never jumped on an opportunity, was Nicholas Anelka. I think what he did for Michael Owen that season and Robin Fowler that season, I think if Julio would have swallowed his pride and bought him, I think we'd be on a lot more. We'd be on a lot more Premier Leagues because that guy was phenomenal. And when he played, you can tell he wanted to play for us. And then, lo and behold, when he left us, he went to Bolton, and then he went to Chelsea, won a couple of leagues there. But yeah, that was my biggest. All the players that we let go and that didn't. I mean, he worked out for us that season on loan, but if we'd have bought him, I think that would have been. That was a very sliding doors moment for us.
I mean, I agree to a huge extent. I thought that Anelka was great, and I really wanted him to walk out. But I just, because he was a trivia question there the other day on the Discord, which everybody should be a part of. If you haven't liked and subscribed and join all of our stuff, then you're not one of the cool kids of ASTV. But he was at Liverpool on loan for 20 games, scored 4 goals. Not a bad return. But after that, Manchester City, Fenerbahce, Bolton Wanderers, Chelsea, Shanghai Shenhua, Juventus, West Brom Albion, and then Mumbai City. He has 508 games and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 clubs. Now, the talk always was, and I think it was pretty much confirmed that it wasn't Anelka, it was the brother, the agent, which I think we've had a whole topic about this before. Players that have their family as their agents, you probably shouldn't touch with a 10-foot barge pole. But it is one of those things. You know, if he had what's his name, Miniola, is that his name? That super agent, like somebody like that who was it was just a business relationship. Maybe he stays at Liverpool that next season, which would have been the 2002-2003 season. I mean, the season where it all fell apart. Imagine Nicholas Anelka. No El Hadji Diouf. We deal with the injury to Owen and Heskey like at different times, and we managed to get a serious amount of goals in a straw in that 11-game run that we couldn't buy a win. You know, maybe we do crack on because we were not the favourites to win the league, but you're definitely the favourites to pressure Arsenal towards the trophy at the end of that 2001-2002 season. So definitely a slide moment there. I would have loved Nicholas Anelka to walk out, but it's no surprise that it didn't, looking at the collection of he has more clubs than I have Lego, to be fair. Brian, who's your man? Who's your player that you wish had walked out? And you've got a cheeky grin on your face, so it's probably controversial.
Antonio Nunez. Antonio Nunez. If you go look at his career, like after he left, I mean, he actually came through and had another one there. Alberto Aquilani. I wish Aquilani would have worked out. I thought Aquilani right there with his numbers in Italy were great numbers.
He was made of that like sugar glass that they use.
Yeah, he was. You were most correct right there. I think that, and Nuri Sahin is another player right there. I wish I would have actually worked out too. I mean, but these players never made it. But I think that if you look at Antonio Nunez's numbers, I mean they're not bad numbers throughout his career.
I mean, he scored 48 goals in 500 appearances or thereabouts. Antonio, for Liverpool, So after he left Liverpool, he went to Celta, Murcia, Apollon Limassol. I remember those from the UEFA Cup.
Yes.
Yeah, you remember as well, don't you see?
Yeah.
Huesca Deportivo La Coruña and Recreativo, where he had 100. I mean, it looks just like he just couldn't settle anywhere. And this is the thing, and almost like the question with Wirtz, kind of to bring it a little bit back to that. Sometimes it's just about settling, isn't it?
Well, I mean, he was you're talking about a player who was a number 10 right there, who just never fit in right there. I mean, and then I think we got Nunez,
especially on a Rafa Benitez team. That was never going to happen.
We got him under a deal right there too. I forgot who we came there. He was make weight for. I can't remember what it was. Was it for Xabi Alonso?
It was McAlone going the other way and for $8 million, and Real Madrid just to sweeten the deal gave us Antonio.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, you can go down a whole bunch of players right there. Who you thought would have done better with us. I mean, again, like I said, Nuri Sahin is another player right there. I thought had great numbers that never really made it here. I mean, just on the list, so like you said, Jerry Letterman. I mean, there's just so many right there. This wasn't the right time.
Paul Kaczewski.
There was never a right time.
Now, with that said, is it? Do you think some players, Susie and Brian, do you think some players are just not meant for certain clubs?
Absolutely.
There's some players that you just like Nigel Clough. You'll never see Nigel Clough as anything. You'll never see him as a Liverpool player. He'll always be Nottingham Forest's Nigel Clough. And it seems like I'm stalking the bloke at this point, but like I remember opening up the Daily Star as it was, or turning the Daily Star over onto the back page, and Liverpool signed Clough. And I know there's a huge, and still to this day, huge reaction against his father, Brian Clough, who personality, so he was a fantastic manager, but he said there was only one club he would want Nigel to play for, and that's Liverpool, outside of Nottingham Forest. But it really looked like, this was the miss, because people don't know how we went from the constant assured success of Dalglish, Fagan, Paisley, Shankly to Graham Souness. Well, okay, which 5 players are getting injured this week, Graham? Which stupid player are you going to buy from some godforsaken league today?
There was that saying, Nigel Clough was the best Liverpool player not to play for Liverpool, and then he became the best Liverpool player not to play for Liverpool.
Heavy Kev says he was good when Stan Collymore. No, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Stan Collymore could have made a lot more, couldn't he? But unlike, I don't know the personal lives of all the other lads, but it's well documented that Stan Collymore had mental health issues at a time when it not only wasn't identified but frowned upon to have mental health issues. But he was one, wasn't he? I mean, because I love Roy Evans. If he could have just sorted out Neil Ruddock out of that back three and a proper back three defender, because Mark Wright and John Scales were not bad defenders. Phil Babb was terrible, and I love Phil Babb for what he did for him, but he wasn't the player. But if they'd have got Gary Pallister, say, which was one of the rumours at the time, Pallister, Mark Wright, and John Scales back three, a mentally fit and healthy Stan Collymore and Robbie Fowler up front, John Barnes, Jamie Redknapp, Steve McManaman in the 10, Rob Jones, and I believe Steve Staunton. Yeah, who was the left back? Steve Bjarnaby.
Bjarnaby.
Bjarnaby. Staunton. I think he came back near the end of that actually when Hugo was coming in. But that was a good 3-5-2. That was not service. It was entertaining. But that Stan Collymore is one of those, isn't he? You just wish he had a different sliding doors moment in his life.
He had the potential to be the original Ronaldo. He was just. He was just big. He was a bully. He had these boat feet that just managed to score from anywhere. Like, I mean, he gave me one of the best moments in that Newcastle game, and I was there when he scored his debut goal against Sheffield Wednesday, and it was just wow. Like, we're going to win the league. Like, it was just.
I mean, it really was, wasn't it? That was the sensation. Like, oh my Lord, we're going to win the league.
And because he turned down Man United. He turned down Man United to join us. And it was...
Actually, just remember, we still had David James in goal, so we would have to sort that part out as well. But what could have been. What could have been. That was another slide moment as well there. But Stan Collymore was like a perfect example of what we're talking about. Just somebody who could have a different path, like one step off the path he took. Maybe we're talking about 25 league titles at this point, So with that said, let me bring this onto the stage. Room 433. Now, you might think that we've been discussing serious soccer topics there, Liverpool topics, football topics, or football, if you're Scottish. Actually, that sounded more like the Manchester kid from Fast Show. Football, it's brilliant. But it was all just a distraction, so the two boys can have a think about an issue that they want to dump into room 433. If you don't know what that is, because we haven't done it in a long while, basically the boys get to, and you guys on the comments get to do it as well. An issue in football, either Liverpool related or not related, that you want to dump into room 433, just like room 101 in 1984. It goes in there and it never comes back, or the popular BBC comedy show from the 90s and 2000s. So, with that said, Brian, you've had more time to think. What would you like to attempt to put into room 433? Remembering, if you don't, you have to keep it.
I'm putting 4-2-3-1 formation in room 433 because I absolutely loathe it. I think it's a horrible, horrible thing. I think it keeps on isolating forwards, and I think that's a big problem. And why we're in the position that we're in right now is because of this formation.
Now I have to say, I know I coached ham and eggers, as they say, and kids. But in 11-11, I never played 4-2-3. When I despised it as a coach, I just didn't see it any different than a 4-4-2. And I grew up on 4-4-2, so just play 4-4-2 and had one of the strikers drop in if they needed to. Worked out way better for me. But yeah, I mean, it's almost 4-2-3-1 now is like the WM of the modern age, really, isn't it? It's everybody does it. So you're just waiting for somebody to come along and do something a little bit different that changes the game. There's a lot of coaches coming out with 3-back systems again. I think Pep Guardiola's return to the WM was quite interesting with the inverted fullbacks and all that. But nevertheless, it is the standard formation. So what would you replace it with the standard formation? Because if you get rid of it, something has to take its place.
We already see it, right?
Say 4-4-2. Say 4-4-2.
I mean, 4-4-2, an adaptive 4-4-2. I would say that as a diamond formation, a narrow diamond formation for me works. I mean, I think that, like I said earlier, right there, I think that's you get the best out of your fullbacks. And if you have a solid 6 right there as a destroyer back there, that covers back your two center halves, and you have a free roll right there for your number 10 spot, which suits Verts. And then you have 2 up front right there, which you could either have Ikitiki and Isak, or you could have Ikitiki Mo. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with that. I mean, you can even go there and put the possibility of putting Cody Gakpo up in the front right there. I think it would still work, and even Chiesa would even work in someone in this role as a 10 or one of the forwards. So I think it makes more sense right there to actually have a more standard formation. I think that the double pivot, we got by the double pivot for a half a season. And then the second half of last season, we didn't get by with a double pivot. I mean, and stats show that. And so I think that it needs to be abandoned, tossed, and gone.
Now, do you mean 4-2-3-1 for Liverpool or 4-2-3-1 for everybody?
Just for Liverpool, I mean, somebody else can do it if they want to do it. I don't care. I mean, but I do that. I can't stand watching McAllister and Gravenberg not time runs anymore. And it's like, and I mean, what little tiny specks of little hair I have, I think I pulled them out.
Suzy, what's your opinion on this? Would you agree? 4-2-3-1 for the team has to go into room 4-3-3 forever and ever.
I agree. It hasn't worked out this season. So that's enough for me to say, yeah, I agree, Brian. But like I said, we have to have a solid backup plan. Can't just take something out without putting in.
I mean, it's stale. That's the way I look at it. It's not even apart from the running patterns and the what do you call them, the assignments, as they say in American football. Like it's just stale. They're just the players look. It's almost the equivalent, and it's Thursday, so we have to bring his name up. It's almost the equivalent of the Brendan Rodgers ball, where you just end up passing it back and forth because you effectively have 6 players in the back block, and then 4 players trying to do the creating. The ball's going to spend more time in the back 6 or 7 if you include the goalkeeper, and the players get bored. And then we saw it with Celtic. Martin O'Neill rocks up, changes it to just a proper 4-3-3 or 4-4-2. Get the ball forward early. They win 7 out of 8 games. And then the new guy comes in and he wants to play with 6 at the back of the block in a different, slightly different formation. And they've lost 4 on the trot. So, Brian, you get to put 4-2-3 for Liverpool into room 4-3-3. Which we may have to now rename to room 4-2-3-1. Susie, what is your nomination for room 4-3-3?
Next year's World Cup. Everything about this World Cup is just destroying everything personally, all my dreams and everything I've loved about the World Cup. And like when I knew it was coming to America, I thought, yes, it's on my bucket list to go to a World Cup game. I'm being outpriced just for me, myself. Forget me taking my boys to go see something.
Yeah, who needs them, Susie?
Well, it's like just.
What do you mean you didn't take the trash out? Right, you're not going to the World Cup either. I'm taking all
exactly. But it's just. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for some people, and it's just like everything about it between Infantino and I'm not going to, the person in charge of this country. It just feels like one big James Bond movie, and it's just the fake peace prize thing that he got, and then just everything. The immigration law. It's just ruined. I don't care for international footy as it is, but World Cup, everyone watches. The whole world just sits and watches it, and it's just turned into such a debacle, and it's just ruined it. It's we don't hear anything from Canada, we don't hear anything from Mexico, but in this country, because someone has to be the narcissist that he is putting himself in the center of all this. And he's turned the world's game, the people's game, into a corporate game. And we've got Infantino so far up that guy.
Don't talk about David Beckham like that.
But it just ruined it for me. Just ruined it. And like we've got games, literally like 45 minutes away from my house, and being outpriced by it. It's just it has to go.
I mean, my opinion is that since Infantino took charge, he's been so allegedly and outwardly morally corrupt about the whole thing with with Qatar and all that kind of stuff, and basically moving things around so that somebody benefits from a nice big fat cryptocurrency envelope down the back of the sofa.
Maybe him.
That it stopped being about the World Cup and started being about Infantino. But my opinion is that we maybe started to lose the World Cup in the South African one when everybody was complaining about them vuvuzelas. Because they conveniently forgot, if you listen back to like Mexico 86, you could hear that kind of like I mean, it was more tinny kind of trumpets and all that, but that to me was always the World Cup. Like when you switched it on every 4 years, Italy, Spain 82, Mexico 86, like you're like, oh, look at these foreign countries that I only see in documentaries, but now it's normal people. It's not the rare leopard, the rare nail biting eczema leopard of San Fernando Valley or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and the grainy picture, and the the commentary that sounded like it was coming from like 2 cans and a piece of string. That was the mood of it all. That was like,
definitely.
Now it's halftime shows, slick graphics, probably interviews in the middle of the game with players and the coaches and stuff like that. It's all designed to sell the game to America in an American way. No offense, Brian.
None taken.
And it's not our game anymore. It's the 20 people's game. $3,000 for a ticket. I could probably the last European World Cup I probably could have paid for airfare, nice hotel room, and the ticket to go and see a team in the World Cup in the last.
We could have done that for Qatar. My friends went to Qatar, the Qatar World Cup. He took his wife, bought the tickets to Qatar, stayed in a 5-star hotel, and watched Argentina Netherlands game.
Were they Qatar players? So, Brian, the World Cup. What is your opinion on this? Is he right?
The first time I see a wave in the stadium, I'm gonna throw up inside my mouth. I mean, that's all I can say right there. Corruption loves corruption, and I think that's what you have right there. I think this is going to be a complete shit show. I mean, it's sad that this right there because I think it has so much potential, and I think a lot of people right there were hoping that this could elevate the game to another level in this country. I think it's actually going to decimate the game a little bit more. I think this is the question marks of countries that qualify and having their fan base come to this country and being screened with their phones being screened by immigration. I mean, there's so many different things.
I mean, you have to imagine that burner phone companies are going to be ramping up production.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so many things are there you can think. I mean, so many things you can think of right there, of what this game was supposed to stand for. It's supposed to be for friendship, for camaraderie right there, competing against each other, these things right there that it's the world sport. We've turned into trash. This is going to be so disappointing to watch. I mean, not only the $3,000 tickets right there, but I mean, just the point right there that it's just not going to feel right. I mean, I think that the Canada and Mexico side will feel okay. I think that those are going to be more welcoming, but I would be weary if I was even a traveler from another country to even come here. I'd be weary. I think that, the way that we've gone about our immigration process, not to get on a political bandstand or anything like that, but the way we've gone about our immigration process and the cruelty that we've done in this right there, I think it's basically, it's going to turn people away from coming here. I think it's a horrible thing. So yes, throw that shit right in room 433 right there. I mean, and it's sadly right there. I would hate to see it because I want other people to love this sport as much as I do, as much as we do. And I think that what we're going to see is with ice around the stadiums and and checking people out and doing all these things. I think we're just going to wind up having just a really bad taste, and I think it's going to set back the sport in America. I really do.
And just to caveat that, it's not even an American thing. I think one of the best World Cups was it 94? It was here in America.
We're welcoming.
That was such a great World Cup, mainly because England weren't in it. But
and Diego Maradona had taken more drugs than in the entirety of Colombia for it.
Yeah, and even then, Escobar got shot, and they all kind of got together, and seriously, this guys.
Well, to be fair, the next World Cup, there's a high possibility somebody called Escobar is also going to get shot.
Yeah.
But but the thing is, right there is that 94. The difference with 94 was that this country was very immature with football in 94. I mean, basically, our football, was playing FIFA when it first came out from back in the day, and seeing the occasional matches on like Fox Sports World and different things like that. So it wasn't anything that was there. We were welcoming of this to come here because it was going to, that we're not welcoming of this anymore. There's no welcoming with this. I mean, we've already got countries on ban lists right there who've already qualified that we can't. There's question marks of whether they're going to be able to come and compete and stuff like that. I mean, plus you water the games down to have so many teams in it. I mean, it's just the whole thing is just a mess. Which is probably why I come there. Why I'm club over country. I mean, on this situation right there. I mean, I don't like international footy. It bores me to death right there. I think they never get a good rhythm of and all that. And I'd rather come there and watch the Liverpool play any day.
That's because you don't have Troy Parrott now, to be fair. But I will say, though, that it looks like if Ireland qualify, they'll be in Mexico's group, which means we'll probably be based in Mexico for the group games. And the last time Irish lads went over to Mexico, you got Che Guevara. There's a whole story about Mexican Irish people coming over, where I think what the deal was when you came over, you were put right into the U.S. Army and you fought in the U.S.-Mexico War, and the Irish lads also. There's a comedian called Dave Nye who talks about it. Says the Irish lads also saw the Mexican girls and then changed sides. And that's why you've got an awful lot of red-headed Mexicans and Mexicans with Irish names. You know. Who knows what's going to happen the next time? Irish lads on tour. They're fun, they're helpful, they're friendly, they're non-violent, and they will spread their seed like there's no tomorrow. Let me see, Ryan says he knows a ton of Kiwi football fans, but none can afford to go to the World Cup to support New Zealand. I'm not surprised. New Zealand's apparently very expensive. My cousin is New Zealand Maori, and she moved to Australia because it was cheaper, and Australia's not cheap. So with that said, Suzy, the next World Cup is also going into room 433. You can have that in there as well. And
unfortunately,
maybe they'll change it to Greenland or somewhere like that before it's all said and done. So let us finish out tonight for our last 10-15 minutes. We're playing a game this Saturday. It is Saturday, isn't it? Because I have to work Saturday afternoon. I've planned it all out that I can actually watch this one. Then I have to go into work, so I can't even enjoy it. But Spurs away, we're on. I will not call this a good run, but it's a promising one. So 4 games unbeaten, I believe, at this point. 5 even better. Mm-hmm. Now, I love Thomas Frank as a coach. I think he's a very good coach. He gets his ideas across the players, but I think we've discussed this before about certain clubs have certain ways that you have to play, and if you deviate from that, the fans will turn on you like there's no tomorrow. The best example in modern times, as far as I'm concerned, is David Moyes winning trophies at West Ham and fans turning on him because he didn't play the West Ham way, which hasn't existed, let's be honest, in 2 decades. Now, as much as I like Thomas Frank, I hope we smash Spurs into the middle of next week, scoreline wise. They're very vulnerable right now. They can pull a result out, but they are also wildly inconsistent, and their home form is horrendous. I believe our away form is better than our home form this season.
It is.
I mean, it's either made for a continuation of our good run or the banana skin slip up because of the stats and all the story and narrative around it. Well, how do we see this game going? It looks like Szoboszlai maybe at least be in contention to play, which is good because if he's in contention, he may get on the bench at least. May see more encouraging signs from Wirtz if we stick with that diamond, which we probably will because Salah's gone to AFCON. So even though he's not playing in that friendly, it's Isak and Ekitike if they're fit. It looks promising. But Brian, how do you see this going? Do you see Slot doing what I consider to be the right thing and sticking with this diamond, or I still want to see a 3-back system. I know people say we don't have the defenders for, but I don't care. I'm a mad bastard like that. I want to see something, but not going back into that 4-2-3-1. Do you think he's smart enough? And we've questioned that stubbornness, but do you think he's unstubborn? Let's not say smart because he's obviously highly intelligent. Is he unstubborn enough to go, okay, this is working, I'm sticking with this again?
I mean, he has to right there because of what the pieces that he has. I mean, he doesn't have Mo, he doesn't have Cody, so those are 2 pieces right there that he has. Frimpong is in contention from what I understand right there, so he may want to play through there. And I think you may want to have McAllister one side, Jones on the other side, and Wirtz up on the top with Gravenberch behind. And I mean, our midfield is pretty weak, is pretty light. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, so it's always so many things that you can do with us. If you load up the midfield, you technically can't load up the midfield right now. It's impossible. I mean, to do that. I mean, I'd like to see Chiesa up front with the Ekitike or Chiesa up front with Isak, because I think that would be something that would that would still require a lot of movement in the front. I think Gally's brought this point up before, and I'll bring it up too. I think right there how light we are in the forwards, it's very hard to have Ikitiki and Isak on the pitch at the same time. And because I think that if you have them on there at the same time, you run the risk of one of them injured, and then you're back you're back in the same situation you were in before. So, which leaves you open to having to make, you basically have to have somebody who's a more forward-thinking person up beside one or the other right there. And I'd probably have Ikiteke start and the Isak come in for him afterwards. But yeah, I would say still with the diamond formation. And if had Bradley start and Frimpong ease himself in right there on one side, Kirkes start on that side, and have Robertson ease come in as a sub on the second half to solidify the defense.
Now, here's my question, because it's not that what you said wasn't logical or had any kind of truth to it, but you run the risk of getting injuries regardless of what combination of players you play and what time. You could put like Isak to start and he gets injured, and then Ekitike also gets injured. There's no guarantees one way or the other of how or when players get injured. From Slot's perspective, does he have to take the risk? Because if we play Chiesa up there, he's going to drop in midfield, and we're no longer playing.
True.
He won't start Chiesa, but the temptation is if Frimpong. My fear is the temptation is that if Frimpong is ready to start, that he does go back to that 4-2-3-1, and he plays Bradley at fullback and Frimpong where Salah plays. And now we're back into the drudgery of what we had before that 5-game run. That's my fear. Should he? And I was always a forward-thinking person. I'm always a positive person, and I'm a little bit of a risk taker. Not too much. Certainly not when I'm driving. 25 miles an hour. That's the speed limit. That's how fast we go, even in the 65-mile-an-hour zone. Does he have to bite the bullet a little bit, because the criticism has been so hard and harsh and warranted in some aspects? But does he have to take the risk of playing the two up front and maybe managing the minutes from the start rather than in terms of rotation?
The problem with that is, who do you come there and bring in? Who do you bring in to sub these players? Are you going to put full 90 on both these players before we go and play Wolves? And like that? I mean, yeah, you've got a week right there in between the matches right there to play them. The problem is right there is I don't know, is Isak even fit to play a 90-minute match? I mean, that's my problem right there. It's like we have a player right there who hasn't got fit for an entire half a season so far right there. And I'm just so questioning that whole entire transfer at the moment. I mean, what it was even worthwhile doing right there if we're still having these same problems in there. But I guess, what would you have Rio come there and actually go in as a sub and bring him through? I mean, I don't know.
I've said before, Rio, I don't buy he's only 17 argument. He can manage 15 minutes, 20 minutes a game. Like, not every game, but he's definitely viable. He's a tough kid. But what I would think is, if I was in that situation, if almost thinking of it as a 60-minute game, win the game in the 60 minutes, then take the players off and play a little bit more defensive then, instead of having to replace like for like. You can change up the shape a little bit. But as I said, like like it's a crapshoot one way or the other, especially with a player like Isak. But your feeling is somebody else with one of Isak or Ekitike up front. Would you go Szoboszlai up front maybe, because he can do that job?
It depends on whether he's healthy or not. If he's healthy or not,
he's doubtful. Yeah.
He's doubtful. So that throws into that mix there. Right. I think no matter what, first player on the pit on that team sheet right there to me is Jones. I think that Jones has to play this match. I think that he provides a whole nother level of energy that we've been lacking. And I think that you have to put him on. After that right there, build your side around. I think that Vert's right there for his role that's there needs to play. And plus, I don't think, again, our midfield is so light at the moment. People don't realize that we don't have very many midfield players in this side. We went from a point of clearing out McConnell's and players like that who would actually do a good job at the moment. And we cleared these guys out, and so we don't have a backup plan for this.
So just go finish off. I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine right there. I'm just saying right there. We lost our bat. We lost Bobby Clark, who I dreaded us selling a couple year before last. I mean, we lost these players right there who fill these roles right there. Harvey. We can't throw loaned out Harvey. The Harvey would be perfectly useful at the moment right now in this side right there with how light we are on the midfield. And so, Endo's not healthy, so that's another problem that we have right there. So we don't have the numbers right there to stray to a 5-man midfield or anything like that. It doesn't work with us. With it because we just don't have the people to do it.
So my thinking then is, because you've just also said that we're light up front too. So if we're light up front and we're light in midfield, you should really just go for it then, shouldn't you? Because you're going to lose that one way or the other.
Kind of have to in a way. You got no choice. At least you have Wolves as the next match. You can basically say that.
I wouldn't be happy about that at this current point at Liverpool. The way our season's gone.
Shit. I don't think Wolves could beat a League One side at the moment, right there. The way they're playing, it's pretty bad. So you kind of have to go. Yeah, I get what your point. You have to roll the die on this right there, and just say, hey, you have to come up with 3 points, and you have to stay somewhat within touching distance of Villa. And actually Man United, Villa, and City and these guys right there. Because we're out of reach of Arsenal at the moment. So Arsenal starts doing Arsenal things and all that. So you have to, I guess you have to go out there, roll the die, and get 3 points.
Just for a point of contention here, don't be bringing in your grammatically correct die rather than dice. Mr. Dungeons and Dragons.
If I didn't say grammatically correct, my wife would watch this and criticize me. So yes,
she'll do that anyway. That's what our wives are for. True. Time on this. Now, Susie, in terms of rolling the dice, it's a complicated situation, isn't it, for Slot? He's kind of caught between two stools. Preserving longevity or getting a result, and he doesn't have the luxury of doing both at the same time. If we're light up front and we're light in the middle, and we're kind of light in the fullback situation, we're light at the back in the centre half. This transfer window has been a disaster, really, coming into this game, hasn't it?
Yes,
it has, yeah. But I'm like you. It's points on the board right now. That's what matters. Points on the board. We're in a position, fortunately, we're not having a midweek game. So, you spend 120 million on a player, get what you can get out of him. Same as words. You just never know. Like, freak injuries can happen anytime. But right now, we're in a position of we're on a 5-game unbeaten run. Let's try and keep this run going and just get as many points on the board. If we need to go for an emergency purchase, and going back to Brian's point he made earlier, I think Gahey will be at Liverpool. It just seems like that type of player that puts morals first. I think
and gets injured a lot.
Does he? Yeah.
No, I don't know, but when he gets to Liverpool, he will.
Yeah, probably. Still an injured Gahey is probably better than Konate, but it just was. But we can buy ourselves out of trouble, hopefully, in January. Right now, it's put points on the board and just go full strength. I think Salah not being there obviously solves that problem for Slot. Frimpong won't come in, not after missing so many games. I think at most he could probably get 5-10 minutes in a game. Obviously, that depends on Bradley and if he can pass the half-time mark. But as much as we'd like to see Chiesa or Rio or even Ramsey start, we know that's not going to happen. He'll rather play a one-legged Gakpo than play Chiesa. So, just go full strength as much as we can. I think a lot depends on Szoboszlai's fitness. Hopefully, we'll see that in the press conference tomorrow.
We don't know. We can't really plan the lineup, can we? But
no.
Let's assume that of the players that finished or that started the diamond the last game who are fit to start will all start. Maybe we'll go Isak and Ekatike. What would your let's not talk about the line because it's unpredictable, but given Spurs' weaknesses right now and Spurs, they're also in a period of discombobulation after a good start to the season, if I remember. But they had a lot of away games at the start, so maybe they'll try and get a transfer to Anfield before the weekend starts. What would your score prediction be?
Me, I'll go for a slot special. I'll go for 2-0.
I mean, it has that. I mean, I don't see where Spurs' goals come from.
No.
You know, that's the issue for them. I don't see, like, Thomas Frank is a coach who really needs a Harry Kane. Ange Postecoglou didn't, just because he threw all 11 players into the opposition box, including the goalkeeper. So they had numerical options at least, but Thomas Frank doesn't do that. So
I'm surprised they don't try and go for Ivan Toney.
But Isak will probably work out really well with a Thomas Frank team because everything will be built towards him.
Yeah.
But 2-0 slot special. I mean, I would love to get back to the 2-0 slot specials. Like they're boring, but they're steady and consistent. Brian, score prediction given all the not controversy, all the confusion about how things are going to go.
I said on Monday, and I'll stick with what I said on Monday's podcast: 2-0. I think I'm still sticking with the 2-0. I think that we have enough to get them over there. I think Richarlison's still injured also with the first Spurs, I believe.
So that's the goal to check on.
So I mean I think they like you said, they don't have any threats in this side right there, which is, very unlike a Spurs side right there. I mean, we've gone through these matches where you play these 4-4s and these like 4-3s, these like massive like fixtures that we've had right there. And I think that I definitely think that they don't have the firepower to come to achieve that.
I mean, like Ryan goes for 4-2, but Spurs haven't Spurs like correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't Spurs traditionally been the team that when we needed a good result, we got it against Spurs. Going back to at least maybe even before, not Hodgson, but maybe even before Rodgers, but definitely with Rodgers, like getting managers sacked from Spurs by beating them by 4 or 5 goals. It could go. I think those were at Anfield, but it could go either way. I don't have a prediction, but I really do hope for a 2-0 slot special. Another clean sheet would be more important than the 2 goals. I think that would be a good confidence builder, especially if the clean sheet comes from Gravenberch playing a disciplined position. He may not be a number 6, but he can at least play the role the way it's supposed to be played, which is don't be running forward like a mad thing trying to get a goal. No matter how many dollars your dad's going to give you or ice creams he's going to buy you afterwards. Because that's what that sounds like. That sounds like a club kid's dad saying, oh, I'll give you $1 for every goal you score. But dad, I'm the goalkeeper. Yeah, go get some goals. And then Macka has a coronary with the goalkeepers running down the middle of the field, dribbling past everybody. And we lose 12-0. So, Tony in the studio. Well, I appreciate that. We all appreciate that, Tony. But the real heroes of this show are me. No, it's you guys. It's you guys in the comments, and it's what we do. It keeps us going.
Hey, and before we start right there, rest in peace, Terry Hall and Christy McCall. Anniversary of both their deaths today.
Oh, is that today?
Yep, both of them.
Kirsty McCall is the one that that's the one I don't I can't get over, like, still, after but that's because, like, when she was alive, I fancied the pants off her. She was very good looking. But she was also hugely talented. So next week is Christmas. I'm certainly going to be here, so I don't know what the show situation will be like. So we have to keep an eye out on that. But if you want to know how those things are going to go, then that's what you got to do. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Click those like and subscribe buttons. And then on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Blue Sky, Mastodon, and all of those other fun things. So we don't know what happened with Cosy. Maybe he's practicing for next Christmas Eve night, getting his fake beard on and his red suit. So we will see everybody next week. Keep an eye out for, I think there's a coffee show tomorrow, so make sure you're wide awake and watching that. Drink some coffee or tea, whichever your preference is. So Z and Brian, it's good to see you guys as always. We will get if we didn't get the start right, we will get the ending right. That's a message to you, Coach Arne Slot. If you can't get the start right, at least get the ending right. Peace out, everybody. Have a Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Just be careful out there and be nice to each other, because that's really what the secret to everything is. Peace out, everybody. Here's some funky music to get us going.